Thanks for tuning in to the Trap House Podcast. Now, a quick word about our sponsors. We have Duke Traps. Check out duketraps.com. Duke manufactures over 40 different models of cage traps, coil spring traps, long spring traps, and body grip style traps. Also, my personal favorite, they have the Duke dog proofs. They come powder coated, perfect on the line. Check out duketraps.com and you won't be disappointed. We have J3 Outdoors, maker of the Hags Bracket, all American made products. Check out their website, j3o.com, and you will not be disappointed. They have everything from your bait holders, your spring clips, your tail hooks, the universal locks, the list goes on. Especially if you're a water trapper, you want to check this website out. That's j3o.com. We also have Top Lot Stretcher Company with us. Check out their website at toplotstretcherco.com. Top Lot Stretcher Company handles all your wooden stretcher needs, along with pelt handling supplies and trapping supplies. Check out their website at toplotstretcherco.com. And representing all the girls in the trapping world, we have Trapping Girl Inc. with us. Check out their website, trappinggirlinc.com. They have awesome apparel for the females. There's also kids apparel, lures and baits, things you could use out in the field. Check out their website, trappinggirlinc.com. And there's only one true way to start out the trap line in the morning, and that's with a nice hot cup of coffee from traplinecoffee.com. Check out their numerous collections. They have Trapline Blend, a Kodiak Blend, and my favorite, a Cherry Red Blend, all available at traplinecoffee.com. Also, be sure to check out Weeby Knives. That's weebyknives.com. They have skinning knives, fleshing knives, all your fur handling tools. Check out weebyknives.com. Need a place to sell your fur? Check out Groenewald Fur and Wool Company. They're the largest and most experienced direct receiver of wild fur with over 50 plus years of experience. Their website is gfwco.com. And last but not least, Hoosier Trapper Supply. Check out our website, HoosierTrapperSupply.com, home of the Top Dog Predator Bait and Jet Fuel Predator Lure. We got all your trapping needs, trapping scents and baits, deer scent, and apparel. Check out HoosierTrapperSupply.com. All right, everyone, welcome back to another Trap House podcast. We got a great guest today with us. Charlie Tumpak is with us. Nice to meet you, Charlie, once again.
Well, thank you. It's good to see you.
So, you've been a fan of ours apparently and followed the show. Then we finally got to meet in person, and you've kind of shared your background with us a little bit on the side, and we were impressed. So it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you. I like trapping.
So, you're from Ohio. So let's get a little more background. So you're from Ohio, and you're 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
What grade is 12 years? Sixth grade?
Seventh.
Seventh grade.
I'm young for my grade.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
What'd you say?
I said it's okay. I'm in seventh, but I'm young for my grade, so.
Okay.
Okay. So how did you get started in the trapping? What made you
I've always just loved being outside. I went hunting with my dad and stuff, but one time my dad trapped when he was younger. Well, then he was he got some mink traps and was like, you know what, let's go try and catch a mink. So that's like my earliest memory of trapping, is just going out in a creek and setting this trap, and the next day coming back and having a raccoon. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever, being able to get this close to it. And I think I was 7 when I started trapping. So at that time, I didn't really know what a mink was. I didn't know what a muskrat was. So that kind of kept me interested and kept me coming back to it. We just slowly started putting out a small line. At the beginning of season, we had some mink traps out. We didn't catch a mink that year. Actually, yeah, we did, but it took a little bit. It took a lot of trial and error to catch a mink. But we just that first year trapping, I just remember it was really cool trying to figure out what the animals were and stuff. That's kind of what got me into it and kept me coming back for more. But my dad got me into it, so.
And you still go trapping with your dad.
Mm-hmm. I'm slow. Every year I'm getting more and more reaching out on my own and doing more. Like the first year he did everything. I just came along, but now this year I'm pretty much running my own lines and everything. So
He's
we'll see.
trapping with you. You're not trapping with him.
Yeah.
That's great.
So when guys were trying to catch the mink, what kind of sets were you making?
Now I do I do pocket sets, but the first sets we ever did were blind sets. We would just go to a bridge and we use Victor number twos. Now we use rotors and railroad plates, but we used to do just have we used to stake them down and do blind sets. So that's
Okay.
what my first set was. And I remember my first mink we caught, we walked up to the bridge, and I still do this. When there's a trap, I run over and try and look at it before my dad gets to it. And I remember I jumped out of the truck, ran over, and the mink was just sitting there because it was still alive. And I saw it, and I was like, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was like amazed, and I still love catching mink. It's my favorite thing to trap.
So you were using number two Victor coils, the old square jaw style. Is that what you guys were using? Okay.
Yep.
You using any other traps then?
Nope, that's what we've been from. That's what we got that's what our first traps were, and we found that they work really well. We've started adjusting them a little bit more, making them more hair trigger, and we put mink pans on them just so there's a bigger surface area for the mink. But we've pretty much kept the same mink trap since the beginning, just because that's what worked for us, and if we found that it worked, we just kept it. So
yeah, I think that's a good trap. We use it on muskrats, and it's originally it was a fox trap, and it really wasn't that good of a fox trap back in the day. Everybody thought it was the trap, but but it turns out it really wasn't. And then if a coyote got in it, the coyotes just pulled the jaws out of it. So I think it's a perfect mink trap or muskrat trap. So not such a good coon trap, but
we catch plenty of coons in them though.
Yeah, that's one thing about mink trapping. You catch lots of raccoons. You catch a lot of muskrats too?
Yeah, not too many, because since we've started doing pocket sets, we've cut down on the mink, or not the mink, the muskrat levels a lot. But we still will catch one here and there. But most of the time, if we get an off catch, it's coon. But
so what do your friends at school say about you being a trapper?
I think they get tired of it because I have my two teachers that I have two teachers that I talk to trapping about. And I talk to all my teachers about trapping, but some are more interested in it than others. And I always do that. That's my way of getting off topic in school, is bringing up trapping, because my one teacher, my social studies teacher, he's always up for it and likes hearing about it and likes that I'm out in the outdoors. So my friends they think it's cool, but they get tired of hearing about it. I've taken a few friends trapping. I took my one friend trapping, and she thought it was a little bit different. She was a little bit, she doesn't like it, but she still thinks it's cool, and she brags about it. She's like, I went trapping with Charlie one time, and now all the boys are like, we want to go. We want to hear what all this trapping's about. Like, they think it's so easy and this and that. And me and my dad are like, we're going to go take them beaver trapping and make them carry beavers out and see what they think about it then.
That's the way to do it.
That's a good way to handle it.
Yeah, pretty soon you'll be dropping out of school and running trap line for a living.
I want to be a wildlife biologist, so I'll stick in school.
Yeah. Don't take Justin's advice.
It's not advice. It's a suggestion.
Don't take Justin's suggestion.
Biologist, huh? That's what you're working towards?
Yeah, I like animals, and I like seeing. That's something with like coyote trapping that I think is cool. Just seeing how like you put something in a hole, and a coyote comes up to it and sticks their foot in a trap, and like that's what, like, it's just, I think it's so cool that you can make such a smart animal do that. and with every animal really. And it's just so cool watching when you're trapping, just seeing how everything interacts with each other. Me and my dad always say that being a trapper makes you a better outdoorsman, because when it rains, it's not just, oh, it's going to be muddy. It's like, oh, my pocket sets are out of water, are out of commission. And like, you just, every little thing affects trapping. So it's makes you think a little bit more about stuff,
I
and
think
you look
that's
for different stuff.
I think that's a really good that's very perceptive, because I think that trappers are definitely generally a better, more rounded outdoorsman than
Mhm.
somebody that may just deer hunt. And I'm not saying all deer hunters, but I'm saying just generally speaking, we've experienced a lot more things in the wild, and we go every day, and we have to go every day despite what the weather is, and we can't just roll over and sleep in if we want to. So yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I think that's a very good observation. So yeah.
It's a commitment. That's one thing you can't cut out of it. Once you put the traps out, you got to go check them, and I think that makes it like more fun, and it makes it more work, but it's more rewarding when you do catch something. I always say it's like Christmas every day. Even if you don't catch something, it's still just you got to remake the set and make sure everything's done, and I love it.
Yeah, and you got that every morning, that Christmas morning anticipation. You're right. I think that's
Mhm.
what keeps a lot of us going. So so have you caught a coyote yet?
I've never caught one with just me making the set, every little thing with the set, because me and my dad have caught a bunch, but it's a team effort when we make the set. Like he always has to make sure that the trap is bedded correctly. He doesn't trust me to just put the trap there, wants to make sure it's solid and this and that. So I've caught them, but not by myself, which is one of my goals this year, because I'm always there. I always make sure I have to put the lure, and I have to do something at every set. So that's my job if I don't set the trap. So
Mhm.
that is one of my goals this year, is to catch a coyote by myself.
Okay. Well, I think you'll do it. So you need to keep us posted and let us know when you accomplish that.
I will.
So
Another one of my goals is I want to catch 20 mink by myself.
oh, I remember that you were saying that. See, we saw last time we saw you, you were up in Escanaba at the NTA
Mhm.
convention, so we talked to you guys quite a bit up there. So I remember that goal. That's quite a goal.
Yeah, we caught 10 last year, but that's not us doing looking for cricks. That's just our cricks that we know we can catch a few mink every year, but this is the year that we're going to try and scout a little bit more. But I'd already told my dad that he can't touch the trap. Say if like he remakes it and we catch a mink, it doesn't count. So
Oh, so
I
it has to be
guess-
20. So in other words, you guys as a team could catch 40, but if you only catch 18, then you still don't reach your goal.
yep.
Those are good goals.
That's a good goal. I wouldn't be disappointed with that though, if it ended up being like that.
No, I wouldn't either, but I'm still determined to catch 20 by myself.
Well, I think you will. I think you will. So you're usually the first one out running to the set to see if you caught anything.
Definitely.
So do you-
Sometimes he gets mad at me, or like beaver trapping, and he's like, "Hey, this is my," because I love beaver trapping, but I can't set the traps. All I do is look for bank dens. So it's not my favorite thing. I like the beginning of season because I can set coyote traps, I can set mink traps, muskrat, coon, but I can't do much for beaver and otter. So I like beaver fur handling a lot. That's my favorite thing to skin and put up, but that's more his thing. So sometimes he runs out and checks the beaver traps first.
No, okay. So you ever do that when you're walking across the field and you're just looking at the set, you can't quite see it, and there might be something there that's maybe you didn't remember from the day before, and you're just thinking maybe it's a coyote or a coon or something, and it turns out to be like the way this weed blew over. You ever do that?
Yeah, I try not to get my hopes up because that's like a big disappointment. So I always try and I think more what happens with me is I'm like, oh, I think it's a leaf. And then it turns out being a coyote. That's more my mindset that I try and keep so that I don't get my hopes up. I like to I'd rather it be a surprise and
Yeah.
see it end up being a coyote than being a leaf.
That coyotes are much better than leaves.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite thing that you like? I guess you could say memory or time on the line. Is there like one particular day that you were just so ecstatic you maybe caught a double or did something that you haven't done
Well,
before?
there's 2 days. One of them was it was it would have been this coming season would have been 3 seasons ago. And I remember this day we went and I think we caught 4 beaver and 2 mink. And it was the first time we had ever caught 2 mink in one day. So I was super excited about that because I had made the sets and I was so happy. So that was probably one of my favorite memories because I remember we checked one spot and we caught 2 or 3 beaver or whatever, and we were excited. And then we caught a mink. And then we went to the next spot and we walked up and I saw it. I saw the tail and I thought it was a muskrat because I didn't want to get my hopes up. And then I pulled it out, I ran up to it, put my gloves on and pulled it up, and it was a mink. And I was so excited. We still have that picture. And then last year we caught 2 mink again, which was really cool. It's we don't do it too often because, like I said, we put I love mink trapping, but we'll put a few out here and a few out there. But at the beginning of season, we target, this year I wanted 50 raccoons was my goal. So I was more focused on that. But then, yeah, last year I ended up catching 2 mink in a day, and that was cool too. And
Did you make your
another
50 raccoons?
Yes, I did. I caught 56, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, 54 or 56. I did catch my 50 raccoons. About 20 of them were in mink pocket sets, but I made the set, so it counts. Another memory is last year there was this sheep farm we were at, and we made some coyote sets there. And we walked up and we saw something. We're like, "What is that?" And once we drove up to where we could, and then we started getting out, and we saw it was red bouncing around. And it was my first red fox, because around here we really have a red fox population. So last year we caught our first red fox, and that was really fun. Just seeing it, because I had never seen one so close, and that was cool too.
Yeah, that's very cool. So when I was a kid a long time ago, we didn't have that was what we caught. We didn't have coyotes at all. So the very first thing I caught in the way of a fox was a gray fox, and then we ended up catching a red fox later in the season. But we didn't even have coyotes back then, so catching a fox was that was the goal, So, but and now I kind of feel bad for them because it seems like there's just not that many compared, because of the coyotes or whatever. But anyways.
Last year we caught 6 red fox all in coyote traps. We were like, "What the heck? We've been coyote trapping for 3 years now." And then this season, all of a sudden, we ended up catching 6 of them. So that was fun too, just getting to experience that.
Was that all generally in the same area, or was that just kind of spread out?
We caught 2 of them at that sheep farm, and then I don't remember the other ones, but we caught one a few behind our house on a railroad tracks. So we caught at least 2 we caught 2 at each. There were 3 different areas that we caught 2 at each.
Okay. Well, I would kind of think, see, in our area, I think our coyote numbers are actually down a little bit. So I'm hoping maybe we'll see a few more red foxes around, which we've got them. They're not, there's definitely ones out there to catch, but it's not like it used to be. So, but our coyote numbers are not what they have been. So I'm hoping we'll see more. But
yeah. Another one of my favorite stories is sometimes we get because most of the time we check traps after school, because now once I moved into middle school, my bus comes at 6:40ish, so I have to get up early, and it's just not enough time in the mornings to go check traps when it's dark out, especially. So there's a few times we'll have to check traps before morning. Well, we have railroad tracks behind our house, and one night we heard the coyotes howling, and we knew we had a trap set back there, but we just kept hearing this one that just kept like yipping, and we're like, we wonder what that. We were kind of both thinking it, but we neither of us said it. We're like, we wonder if that one's in our trap, because it was like, out of all of them, that one sounded the closest, and it just kept going and going out. Even after the other ones would shut up, that one just kept going. So then the next morning we got impatient and we're like, we got to go check these. So we walked up, and there were like trees right here. So when we were driving, I saw something in the trees, and I'm like, it's too late in the season for there to be lightning bugs. It's too cold out for that. So then when we walked up, there was the coyote, and you could just see the eyes. And when we pulled up, like the tail or the headlights were zoomed in on it, and it was so cool. I like checking traps. I like checking traps in the morning, because then I can go to school and be like, I caught a coyote this morning. I'm like, bragging on it.
Well, that's definitely worthy of bragging about. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So Charlie, and by the way, two Charlies on the same show. That's pretty cool too. So
I feel left out.
yeah. So you mentioned fur handling. What you say you enjoy skinning beavers? What other fur handling do you like to do?
Muskrats. I skinned my first raccoon this year, and it was okay. I mean, it wasn't hard, but it wasn't as fun as I like beaver. And I do like 90% of our muskrats, but everybody always says that muskrats is like the best place to start in trapping, and that's always how they got into trapping. I never liked muskrat trapping. I mean, it's fun, I guess, but like, I don't know. It was never my thing, because I like I most the best way, like when we trap them, is with conibears. Well, I hate setting conibear traps. I'm not scared of them, but the first time I ever set one, I got these new setters, and it was a brand new Duke 110, and I set it. Well, this when I went to pull the setters off, it like messed it up, and it went down on my thumb. So I've just like have this like hatred against conibear traps now. I'm not really scared of them. I just don't like setting them. So I've just never really liked muskrat trapping that much, but I like muskrat fur handling. And this year I want to skin a mink too, because my dad loves skinning mink. So that's his thing. Since I took over a lot of the beaver skinning, he doesn't, I mean, he does get to do some, but he doesn't get to do as much as he used to. So he always tells me, he's like, the next mink you can skin it, the next mink. And it goes on like that all season until there's no more mink for me to skin. So this year I told him, if I'm going to catch 20 mink by myself, I have to skin them too.
That's right.
His excuse is always, I don't want you to hit the glands. But I'm like, you can do the glands, and you can do that part, and I'll just skin up top. And he's like, no, it's okay.
Does your dad need to get in here and offer any explanations?
He said no. He just he told me before, he's like, you can do this podcast, because if I step in, I'm not going to be able to stop talking. It's going to be my podcast.
So how excited were you when you found out you were on the cover of the American Trapper magazine?
The Buckeye Trapper?
Or I'm sorry, the Buckeye Trapper.
Yeah, I was so excited, because my thing is, I started wearing the pink Carhartt hat is what I got for Christmas one year, and I just always wore it. Well, then Bill Davis, who's in the Ohio State Trapping Association, he sent me a hat, and it said my name on it, and it was pink, and it had the OSTA logo on it, and I like love that trap everywhere. So, and that's what I like wore everywhere. In that one picture, my dad had it, and he's like, that's a really cool picture. And he just kept saying, he's like, that's a really cool picture. Well, here he posted it on Facebook, and they asked for it. They're like, can we have that? But don't tell Charlie. So then it just came in the mail, and it was sitting on the counter, because I always know when there's a trap magazine, because it's always like flipped up on top of everything. That's what is always on top of everything. Well, to that day, it was like flipped upside down. I'm like, what the heck? So then my dad comes over, and he's like, here, come see this. And he flips it over, and I like was so excited. I like got, because it was just a really cool picture, and that was a really fun memory. Like, I loved trapping down. It was down in the swamp, like in the game lands around us. And we called that spot the Beaver Hotel because we caught so many beavers in there. We caught 17 just in that,
Oh my
like
gosh.
just along this dam. It was actually for otters. There were just a bunch of crossovers that we set up for otters, but there were beaver huts on both sides of the dam. So we knew we were going to catch beavers, but we didn't think we were going to catch that many. And we caught 4 the first day and then like 3. And then I think we caught 2. And the next day, my dad's like, we're not going to have another day with 4 beavers. It's just not going to happen. And then that day we ended up catching 4. So it was we just kept like, no matter every day, we're like, oh, we can't catch another one here. But the weirdest part was they were all like 2-year-olds. They were all like 30 or 40 pounds. Like most of them, like 10 out of the 17 were. And it was just so weird that they were all, you'd think they'd be kids, but they weren't.
That's strange.
It was weird, but it was really cool. But like I said, that was just a fun memory I have. So for it to be that spot too on the Buckeye Trapper was cool.
That is very cool. So did you catch any otters?
We did this year. We caught 2.
Okay.
One of them was at the Beaver Hotel along this one dam. And then the other one was like, it's the same area-ish, but it was like a couple hundred yards away in like a different, like it was the same creek, but it was just farther down. We ended up catching it there. And that was cool too. But our first otter ever, I like school. Everybody calls me a nerd because I actually enjoy school. Well, I was on this academic team. It's like a trivia team, and I stayed after school for that. Well, our first otter, that night my dad, it was gonna be until 4 o'clock, and after that it's gonna be dark out. So my dad's like, we're not hiking down because it would take us 2 or 3 hours to check traps with such the long walk in and then checking all of them and hiking out. So he's like, it's gonna be dark out and I don't want to go in there in the dark. So I'll just check them and you can see what we caught after. Well, I walk into the parking lot. My dad gets out of the truck and he goes, Charlie, we caught this huge beaver today. He always says stuff like that to try and hide what it is. And I saw right through him. I like teared up because I knew I had missed it. And I looked in there and there was a nice otter in there. And I was like, are you kidding me? But I was there for the second otter. So I got to experience one of them anyway. But I was so mad at that because I can always see right through him. He always says stuff like that. Like, oh, we caught this big beaver. Or look at this cool muskrat we caught. Like, no, I wouldn't care if maybe if it was like a 60-pound beaver, but not. Anyways.
Not the average 50-pounder.
Yeah, that's not.
So tell me about this.
Oh yeah.
You're a lure maker too. You do it all. You trap, you skin, soon to be biologist, and you make your own lure.
I started making lure. Maybe not this summer, maybe 2 summers ago. And that was because in the summers we always did like we would do our trap handling, like get our traps ready for the season, but that wouldn't start until like after like around maybe the end of August is when we would start doing stuff, and that'd be getting wax dirt ready. So I would always get bored in the off season because it's like in trapping, you have to do it every day. So it becomes such a big part of your life. And then it's like in the summer, it just drops off. And I'm like, what the heck? What am I supposed to do? So then my dad's like, well, you could start making your own lure or something. So I started messing around and just making it. And it was just cool to catch like stuff on my own stuff, like catch animals on my own lure. So then I started selling it and now I'm selling it. But last year it was really fun because I make my own coon dog proof bait and coon lure. So I got to catch 50 coons on my own stuff. And this year I'm going to catch 20 mink on my own mink lure.
Well, that is cool. From one lure maker to another, I can certainly understand that. When something is successful, it's pretty gratifying. It's something you put in a bottle and it consistently works. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So
how many different lures do you have?
I think I have two lures and I have my dog proof bait. I make a mink lure, a coon lure, and my dog proof bait. Cause I was gonna make a different coon lure and this and that, but I told my dad I didn't want to make anything that I didn't want to make a beaver lure because I don't really trap beavers. I mean, I do, but I'm not the one making the sets. So I told my dad I only wanted to make a lure for the stuff that I love, and I love coon trapping because it's easy and it's fun, and you can always catch something, and you can go for big numbers in coon. But then mink is something that it's more rewarding when you catch one than if you catch a coon. So I told my dad those are the two things that I kind of want to stick with. I'd rather have a really good mink lure than have 10 different coon lures.
Yeah. And I think is your mink lure, is it a food type lure then?
Yeah, it's a food lure, but it does have a little bit of mink glands in it, but it's mostly a food lure.
Okay. Okay. So Charlie, on a more serious side, what do you say to your friends or people that you know that don't really appreciate what you're doing?
Well, I try and just explain to them the importance of it and to tell them that it's like, what would you do if there weren't coons, or if there weren't coon trappers, they'd get in your garbage and they'd do this, and like explain to them the importance of trapping is always the tactic I take instead of like, oh, it's fun. Like, because they're obviously like dispatching the animals the worst part of it. But I think people misunderstand trapping, and trapping has such a bad reputation with people that aren't outdoorsmen that it's important to educate people on what it really is and what it really means. And like most people, when they think of just trappers, they're like, oh, cruel, like they don't like cruel men that are just going out and trying to kill stuff. Like they don't think of like trying to control the population and how much fun and how many memories you can make trapping. Like it can really, especially doing it with my dad, I know that I'm going to remember this when I'm old and whatever. Like there's so many memories with it, and it is important. Like there is a lot to it, and it takes a lot of work to do it too. So
Yeah.
I
That's a good
I try and explain
strategy.
it the best I can.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to handle that. And there's some people that you'll never reach. I mean, there are people that have their mind made up or
Mm.
whatever. But a lot of people, I think, if you offer them a rational, make sense type answer, or explanation, I think that most people are reasonable enough to accept that. So.
Mm-hmm. I found that it's easy for me when people like I said, think of like they don't think of a little girl going out there and setting traps. So I think when it comes from me, they believe it even more. Like some of my friend, like some of the boys in my grade are just so annoying, but they'll try and say something like, "Oh, trapping's easy," or "trapping's dumb," or if they try and talk trapping, they don't even try anymore because I can shut them up so quickly. Just like, oh, I can.
That's
I've
great.
gotten good answers for any of their comments about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, there's misconceptions. Unless you're involved, there's misconceptions all over the page, as you are well aware of. So yeah. And you are right. You are not the stereotype of trappers. And so you are a very good face and a very good ambassador for trapping, I think. So keep it up. That's very important. So
Thank you. I always tell people, I just like trapping, and if getting to influence other people comes along with it, then
right.
that's just an extra.
Right. I mean, the benefits of trapping are very important, but on the other side, we do enjoy it, and it is something that's a part of our lifestyle for sure. And it's just what we enjoy doing. So
Hmm. It's funny at school, I'm starting to become known as like the trapper because, like I said, I talk about it so much. And like there's this girl that I have a water bottle that has a trapping girl sticker on it because I have two trapping water bottles. One has a sticker that says trap like a girl, and the other one has like a bunch of different, like it has a Hoosier sticker on there. It has just a bunch of different like just trapping companies. So then the one girl in my grade started calling me trapping girl because I always wear my trapping shirts to school and like this or that. So they that's like a nickname for me. And my grade now is Trapper Girl, Trapping Girl.
That's a good name.
That's a good name. Yeah.
I've never used anyone else's lures except for what we use at the shop.
What we make. Yeah.
What we make, the Hoosier Trapper line. So you'll be the first one I'm going to take out and catch a coon on someone else's lure.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Well, I got to catch one first.
Yeah. Hey, I got my jet fuel. I got my jet fuel already for my coyote this year.
Well,
Good. I want to see pictures.
They're kind of the same
Yeah, I'll
color.
catch my first ever coyote by myself on jet fuel.
Perfect.
There you go.
I like it.
There you go. We have people that come in the shop and it'll be like, a week before Christmas and it'll be super cold out and there's ground's frozen super hard and they just are going to start trapping for the very first time and they want to go after raccoons. And it's like, I warned them in advance. It's like, so this is not ideal and you're going to have to wait for a warm up or something. So don't get discouraged if you don't have success right away, because so many people get done deer hunting and then they go trapping when it's not so ideal, so.
I love when it gets, as a mink trapper, I love when we get those like cold moments because the mink get running and the coons stop. Yeah. It's the best mink trapping is when it gets really cold out. Maybe not for pocket sets, but it's still, you can make it work.
Oh yeah, that you are right. That's a good time for mink trapping, and like you said too, you don't have to worry about raccoons sitting there in your perfectly made pocket set.
Yeah.
Do you hunt or fish or do any other outdoor stuff other than trapping?
I've never went deer hunting because I told my dad I want to wait until I can pull back a bow, and I'm good at setting traps, not pulling back bows. I've been working on it, but I just can't do it yet. I told him, I'm like, I'm not shooting my first deer with a gun. I want to shoot it with a bow. But I do turkey hunt and I shot my first turkey 2 years ago. And this year, turkey hunting frustrated me this year, and I didn't get one, but I'll definitely be back out next spring because there was like a week I was late to school like every day that week because I had been getting up at because there were these turkeys they started calling like gobbling at like 5:30 in the morning. It was so early. So by the time if we wanted to get in there before they were awake, I have to wake up at like 4:30, and I was getting up super early to go turkey hunting, and it was crazy. I didn't end up shooting one, but that was because see now you got me started on turkey hunting, and I'm all fired up. But there's this turkey behind our house. It was a huge turkey, and I got so excited. Well, we had our decoy out in the field, and I had my gun there, and it just like it seriously probably took like half an hour to an hour for this turkey to make its way to our decoy. Well, once it got there, I had it, and my dad's like, shoot, and I shot. Well, my gun, it clicked, but it was like click, click. It didn't go off. So then we wait for the turkey to spin around, this big gobbler. He spun around. My dad cracks open my gun. He thinks there's something wrong with the shell. So he puts another shell in, crack it back, go up, and click, click. We did that we did that 3 times. My dad changed the shell and like snapped it really hard. And there were 2 hens with him. But here it was because I got my gun dipped in the hydro dip for it to be camo because it was black. Well, here when I did that, it was something with my my firing pin got stuff on it. So we just had to clean that off. And yeah, so I missed a big turkey this year because of that. But it was still really fun because you got to hear them and stuff. But that was my turkey hunting this year. And we do fish a little bit, but most of the time we go bluegill fishing, and that's for mink pocket set bait.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So I kind of use bluegill fishing to compare to muskrat trapping, because if you're into them, you can catch quite a few. It's a lot of action. Same with I suppose you could use the same comparison with raccoon trapping too. Lots of action. It's going to have success, so.
Yeah, we have a pond that we go out there, and my dad laughs at me because instead of just like casting out, I just take it and I like put it, and you can put it like there's a little bit like it's really shallow on the bank. You can put it or like by the bank, and you can put it in like 2 inches of water, and you're gonna get a bluegill that comes up to it and like bites it. I mean, some of them are gonna be pretty small, and we just throw them back. But it's still, my dad just laughed at me because I'm just holding it there. I'm not even casting out. I'm just like holding it over the water so that I can catch these bluegill because there's so many in there. But
Is
yeah.
that is that your primary bait, bluegills for mink?
We've started using like carp because it's more of like an oilier base, and we've started using that a little bit more. But bluegill's the easiest to get a hold of.
Right.
Carp, because we don't really go carp fishing. I mean, we have some people that said they'll get us some, but we've been bluegills pretty much our main because they're easy. Like you said, they're easy to get. We have a bunch of ponds that we can go do it ourselves instead of relying on somebody else to go do it.
Yeah, I hear that. And I'm not a mink trapper, so you can't. You know, so I got to go by secondhand information. I've caught mink before, but I'm not really a mink trapper. But I guess little bullhead catfish are supposed to be really good too for mink. Have you heard that?
I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty new mink trapper too. This is like not my newest obsession because I've always loved mink trapping, but it's been more recent that I've like become. I think last summer I did a demo at the kids cave at the NTA, and I did a mink demo, and ever since then has kind of been my like I'm a mink trapper now. Because I mean I always was, and I always knew how to make the sets, but now that's like, and it started being like my favorite thing to catch because like I tell everybody is I want to be able to make the set myself, and that narrows it down to about coyote, red fox, muskrats, coon, and mink. Those are pretty much my animals that I can trap by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And out of those, like I like land trapping, I do, but I like water trapping more.
Yeah.
So it goes down to that, and then it's just mink's just the funnest thing to catch out of those. It's a lot more work, but it's a lot funner than just catching whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting ready for our rendezvous at the shop we have every year. We'd love to have you come do a demo next year if you can make it out here for a mink demo.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well,
you gotta wait a year.
well, I'll definitely do that if we can.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So, and you can tell those guys. Hopefully, you'll be able to tell those guys 20 mink last season. So I feel like I can probably help you out.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
I've
Yeah.
never caught 20 mink in a season.
No, me neither. So
Hey, hopefully I'll be able to say that after a few months.
I think assuming the weather's halfway cooperative, I think you will. So
Yeah, because we've caught the most we've ever caught in a season was 12. And like I said, that wasn't really us going super hard and trying to catch that many. That was just kind of us making a few sets here and there, and we caught 12. So I think I'll be able to do it. But like I said, I don't know how many of those pockets my dad's going to try and remake because it's not going to count. So
That's great. Well, thank you, Charlie, for being on. It's been a pleasure.
you got any?
Thank you for having me.
You have any last things you would like to say?
Don't get discouraged if you're a new trapper. Just keep at it, and it's rewarding in the end.
That's a good way to sum that up. And I've already said it, but I think with hey, let me ask you one more question. So you're going to pursue a degree in biology. So are you thinking about fur bearer biologist? Is that what you're thinking? Okay. Well,
I just narrowed it down because we listened to this podcast the other day about this girl that was I don't remember where she was, but she was a fur bearer biologist that was doing a study on coyotes. And I thought that was really cool because it would like the fur bearer biologist. I know a lot about the fur bearer animals. So I thought that would be cool. So yes, that is what I would like to do if I
Well, that
can.
would be awesome. We have a our fur bear biologist here in Indiana. We have a really good one right now, Jerry Ann Albers, and in fact, we'll see her this weekend or next weekend at the rendezvous. She always comes to our trapper rendezvous and gives a little talk. I've been helping instruct at the Trappers College the past 10 or 11 years, and a lot of the people from the Trappers College that are there are agency people. So there's lots of wildlife biologists, lots of USDA wildlife services, which a lot of them have biology degrees as well. So and they're out trapping critters, that are causing issues. So you have good prospects with that type of degree, I think. So
That's what I'd like to do. It just seems like you can take something you love and put it into a job. It just
right.
Yep.
There's a fellow at the college, and he says that his parents always said, well, you'll never make a living trapping, or you'll never be able to really go anywhere. Well, he got his wildlife biology degree, and a lot of that degree, or a lot of his job, depends on his trapping knowledge, because he's actually traps a lot of species that are prey on endangered species. So he does a lot of that, where he's controlling raccoons or red foxes or whatever that might be eating birds, or preying on some sort of endangered turtle, or whatever. So there's a very wide area of things that you can do with that, I think. So, and I'm sure you'll do very well with that.
Well, thank you.
So anyways, I guess my final thought is that you're the future of trapping, Charlie, is in good hands. I think you're a good ambassador and a good spokesman for it.
Thank you. It means a lot that, yeah.
I agree. And anyone listening, I'll have the links below for Charlie's Lure if you want to get on their website, pick up some lure. Is there anywhere else that they can follow on social media? Is there a Facebook page I believe you have started?
Yeah, well, I don't know if there's a Tumpak trapping one, but Tumpak trapping or Jesse Tumpak. You can follow along with our trapping adventures.
Very good.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.